In another significant move from the U.S. Supreme Court this week, the justices ruled 8-1 against a Colorado law that bans therapists from discussing conversion therapy with minors. They ruled that the First Amendment protects a therapist's right to discuss conversion therapy with LGBTQ youth. Only one justice, Ketanji Brown Jackson, dissented, arguing that states should be able to regulate such practices. The ruling is likely to affect similar bans in more than 20 other states, including here in New Jersey. Here to discuss the implications is Sue Livio, investigative reporter with NJ.com, who's been covering the case. Sue, great to have you with us. Thanks for taking a few minutes.
Thanks for having me.
I want to start with the SCOTUS ruling. This is not a ban of Colorado's conversion therapy ban, right? I hate a double negative, but that's where we are. But what does this ruling do?
What it does is it narrowly focuses on First Amendment rights by the therapist. They're drawing a line between conversion therapy, trying to change someone's sexual identity or orientation, used to be associated with a lot of adverse acts. And this therapist only wanted to talk about sexual identity. So it's saying that her freedom of speech is more important, or perhaps is unconstitutional, and has recommended that these bans not stand.
And so let me just jump in here. The Supreme Court is actually sending this back to the lower court that had upheld the ban in the first place, and they're saying really that they need to redecide the case with stricter parameters. So this was challenged and brought all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court. Based on what's happened, how do you expect that lower court now to handle this case?
I think it remains to be seen. I think when I was speaking with some constitutional scholars at Rutgers yesterday, they said in the immediate effect is that New Jersey's ban or other state bans would not withstand challenge. They cannot be upheld. So they have to find a line between speech and conduct. And I think it's going to be very difficult for any state to sort of thread that needle. The Attorney General in New Jersey hasn't responded yet. Based on what Rutgers professors told me yesterday, this is going to be very difficult for the bans to stand.
Let me just, for context, for the audience, remind everyone that New Jersey has had a conversion therapy ban since 2013 that was actually put in place by Governor Christie at the time, who I remember at the time talked about a lot of the harms that have been found to be associated with conversion therapy. But this case before the Supreme Court really gets to the heart of First Amendment rights and free speech, right? And so I think what you're trying to say is a difficult line to toe here for any states that have a ban. How will those be upheld in court or not? What could this mean then for New Jersey? Do you see the potential for cases to be brought against the state?
Well, I think it all depends on whether the Attorney General's office, which regulates license holders, wants to take action on this, or someone brings an action against New Jersey. Right now, things are, if nothing happens, this ban isn't repealed, but it's in effect gone. So I think what you'll see is people, the Southern Poverty Law Center was instrumental in bringing these cases around the country. I think Trevor Project, I think they're assessing what their options are. I don't think people were surprised by this. Ron Chen, professor at Rutgers, saying, anytime you're regulating speech, you're on a thin line. So this being shot down was not a surprise. In fact, medical scholars wrote an article the day before this decision came out in the Journal of the American Medical Association saying that, this is probably going to be shot down, and we need to find a way to protect young people, because again, this only affects minors. But Ketanji Brown Jackson's point was that you can't separate the speech from the harm that the speech or the therapy has caused. And the rest of the court actually did that. They set it aside. So you'll have a lot of LGBTQ groups very upset, and perhaps there'll be a challenge. But until we hear from the Attorney General, this is a dead issue.
Yeah, and just to drive the point home, this was not a partisan ruling from the Supreme Court. This was an 8-1 decision. So most justices agreed that the First Amendment trumps whatever those harms may be. But great reporting, Sue Livio from NJ.com. Appreciate you always coming on the show.
Thank you for having me again.